Hello FPL managers and welcome back for another video. Today is a big one as we've activated our free hit chip. We are looking at our free hit team selection for game week 28, which is a blank game week. If you guys are looking forward to more FPL videos, click the like button and subscribe, and to stay up to date with all of our future FPL uploads in the build up to this blank game week, plus the humongous double game week 29 just around the corner, make sure those notification bells are turned on. And with that being said, let's jump into the video and look at our team. But before we do, let's have a look at how we got on in game week 27. It wasn't looking too good for us coming into the last day of games, but after a very good performance from quite a few of the lads we had on the side, we were able to rescue the game week, scoring 89 points. We did take a -8 hit, going down to 81. Obviously, this is quite a good score on any given game week, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough for us to get ourselves a green arrow, as our rank has dropped to around 900k with a slight red arrow. I believe it was around a 10 to 20k red arrow, so nothing too major there, not too fast, especially considering we took a -8, which was not only able to set our team up for this week, but also blank game week 28 and double game week 29. I think are pretty well planned out for, especially with having a couple of those Brighton lads in for double game week 29, plus the likely double game weeks that they are going to get in the future for the remainder of the season. So I'm pretty happy with how everything played out in the end. It's actually only 2 players out of our starting 11 ended up blanking. We also had Ben White on the bench provide returns, so a lot of players in the squad did provide returns for their teams this week. First off though, Ramsdale goals, picked up a clean sheet, and Estupinan and Henry both were able to provide returns on their second fixture of the double game week. Estupinan just picked up a clean sheet and 2 bonus points this morning. Henry also picked himself up a clean sheet for Brentford, which was really good to see. Kieran Trippier, as we've already touched on, he picked himself up an assist against Wolves. And then the player that was still yet to play for us in the midfield was Solly March. He was able to get himself a goal, which he definitely did deserve, as he did have his goal taken away from him by FPL quite unjustly, in my opinion. Obviously a bit biased being a March owner. I obviously think he should have been given the goal. That's a different discussion though, but I'm happy still nonetheless that March got 11 points. Could have been a lot more had he been given his goal. It would have got an extra 5 points plus probably some bonus, so a bit unfortunate there, but nonetheless still take the 11 points. And Odegaard also got the 7 in midfield, and the main lads for up top were Watkins and Tony. Obviously everyone's got Haaland, nothing too much to report on him, but Watkins with a goal and a couple of bonus, he's able to get us another return since we've brought him in, and his price has risen a bit as well, so he's definitely been a player that's been a great signing for our squad since we've brought him in. And going for the captaincy on Ivan Toney did pay off, as he was the highest scoring player in our team this week. Got himself a goal and a very late assist for Brentford in their match away to Southampton, picking up 26 points for the game week. Also a bit disappointed that Toney was given a yellow card. I don't think he should have been given a yellow late in this game, and it's going to be very annoying if he does get given a yellow in game week 28, as he will miss both fixtures of his double game week in game week 29. So I'm really hoping he doesn't get a yellow in game week 28, as that will definitely add to the frustration and throw a spanner in the works as far as forward options go for double game week 29. So that's also something to look out for. So overall, not a bad game week. 89 points with a -8 hit. Let's discuss our free hit team though for blank game week 28. So obviously when discussing transfers for this week, we did have unlimited transfers. I'm not going to go over all of the changes here, as there were a grand total of 11 changes to the team. I can report that we do have 0.0 left in the bank, as we have splashed as much money to make as much utilization out of the free hit as possible. So I'm pretty happy with how the team's shaping up. There could be a couple changes that we could shift around in the side, even switch up the formation as well if we wanted to, as there are a couple of possibilities for how the team could shape up this week. But with all that in mind, let's discuss how the team's looking. So here is the free hit team. As you can see here, the squad value is 101.9 with 0.0 left in the bank. We have activated our free hit token. In goals, we've gone with Kepa Arrizabalaga. I think Everton at home a really good fixture from a defensive perspective. Chelsea's defensive clean sheet tally has dropped off slightly in the most recent 2 to 3 weeks, but they did go on a very good run earlier on, or only 3 to 4 weeks ago in fact, of picking up 3 clean sheets in a row. So I'm hoping they can recapture some of that defensive form. Kepa obviously has a good balance of save potential and clean sheet bonus as well. He also does pick up bonus points fairly frequently for a goalkeeper, so not a bad pick here. I think he's probably one of my favourite goalkeeper picks, at least for the free hit this week. Everton at home, definitely one of the easier fixtures as far as defensive difficulty goes in terms of keeping a clean sheet. I could have gone for Ramsdale here, double Arsenal defence. I wanted to have double Arsenal attack though against Crystal Palace. As you can see here, Saka and Martinelli are the two I've gone for. Trossard and Odegaard, both very, very good options as well. I've opted to go for Saka and Martinelli though, who I think are two of the players that have looked the most impressive using the eye test over recent game weeks. Martinelli's put up really, really good underlying stats, and Saka obviously has been excellent this season for Arsenal and his own penalties. And I think that is something that's worthwhile considering. And when you're on a free hit, you might as well go. It doesn't really matter about the price too much. As long as you can afford the team, I might as well go for the most expensive Arsenal midfielder that's on penalties. And that is, of course, Bukayo Saka. Looking at the defence, though, as we touched on, we've just got the single Arsenal defence here with Zinchenko. I've gone with Chilwell as a part of a Chelsea double-up in defence. Not necessarily a huge fan of going for the double-up on Chelsea, but when you're looking at the players individually, I think Chilwell's a really good option that provides good attacking threat at both ends of the pitch, as he's shown in his most recent 2 game weeks, putting up consecutive returns in his last 2 with some attacking returns as well, combined with a clean sheet. So I think Chilwell a really good option. He can get forward, provide those goals and assists even if Chelsea don't get a clean sheet. And I think as far as doubling up on any other defence, Newcastle against Nottingham Forest away, not necessarily a massive fan of it. As you can see here, Botman is currently sitting on our bench, so for whatever reason maybe Chilwell gets rotated or someone else doesn't play, Botman I think is a good option that can come on in place of whoever doesn't play with Nottingham Forest. I wouldn't necessarily have him in the starting 11 though, as I'm not too sure about a double up on Newcastle away to Forest, as Forest are actually pretty good at home, so I wouldn't be surprised if Forest do get themselves a goal in this game. But of course Trippier is always there for his good attacking potential as well, as he showed last week, picking up an assist against Wolves. So that is how the defence is shaping up. Ben Davies, probably a player that I'm going to switch to the first bench position, as I think having a Tottenham defender could be a good differential to have in the side. Davies has provided 2 goals and 3 assists this season, which is a pretty good output of attacking returns for a defender that's less than 5 million and playing in a Spurs defence. It's been fairly solid this season. Southampton away is a good chance for a clean sheet, so I think Davies an option worthwhile considering. Heung-min Son as well. He is the second Spurs asset we've gone with in the team. He's the premium midfielder here. He's coming in at 11.6 million. I think Son a really good option to have against Southampton away. He did really, really well against Southampton away. I believe last season or the season before had a great haul of goals in that game. And Kane, of course, also will be keen to get on the act against Southampton. That completes a Spurs triple up on the free hit. So very happy to have Son and Kane as my premiums. I do think they're the 2 best premium assets to look at right now. And when I was looking at midfielder options, there wasn't really many standout or higher end picks. I think Son's probably the best premium asset. And there isn't too much variety in midfield options. Obviously, you've got the 2 Arsenal lads here in Saka and Martinelli. But outside of that, there's not too many options that are massively screaming out. So Son and Maddison, despite being players that haven't put up massive FPL points in recent game weeks, they have pretty good fixtures. And they're probably still the 2 best midfielder assets outside of those Arsenal players. So I'm happy just to have them in for the free hit. I also just want to touch on Maddison, a player that I'm probably going to bring into the side for double game week 29 anyway. So I think Maddison is a pretty good option going forward, just considering how good Leicester's fixtures are. And Maddison, as you know, he can turn up with some huge FPL returns, as he showed against Nottingham Forest earlier in the season, where it seemed quite a few people had him for that game week. So I think Maddison, definitely a player worthwhile considering, at least for double game week 29, as Leicester do have a really good double game week that week. Looking to the lads up top, Kane was another player that we didn't have in the side. We did have Erling Haaland, and I think going Haaland to Kane is a move that I'm going to make also past this free hit chip in maybe game week 29, maybe game week 30. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think Kane, a player definitely on the watch list to get into my team permanently. But this week he takes the captain's armband against Southampton after a 13-point haul against Forest last week. I think he's carrying some great form to this fixture, and I think he can produce returns in this one against the Saints, who haven't been the best defensively this season. Ollie Watkins, obviously he's not going anywhere in the side, and neither is Ivan Toney, as both of these players have been in good touch recently for their sides, and both of these players did provide goals in their most recent game week. I'm hopeful for Watkins to produce a really good haul here. Bournemouth at home is a great opportunity for yet another Watkins goal, maybe even a couple of goals. He could have easily had a second goal against West Ham. It was a great save from Areola at close range with a really good chance for Watkins, so he could have had two in that game against West Ham. I'm hopeful that he can pick up multiple returns here against Bournemouth. And Toney against a Leicester defence at home, who have struggled this season, should be looking good for another attacking return. I really like Ivan Toney this week, and a good differential captaincy option there as well is Ivan Toney. So I think he's a nice shout to have in the forward line. I'm really hoping that he doesn't get a yellow card in this game. As I touched on, he's going to pick up a suspension for his double game week if he does get yellow carded in game week 28. So that is going to be a painful one to watch, and hopefully he can be well disciplined in this one against Leicester. Looking to the bench, Raya is our sub goalkeeper if Arrizabalaga doesn't play for whatever reason. Raya here against Leicester at home, not the worst fixture. Got a good balance of save and clean sheet potential, and Brentford are coming off a clean sheet last week, so I'm happy to have Raya as the sub goalkeeper. Botman and Davies, as we touched on, the two extra defenders that are sitting on the bench. I'm most likely going to switch Davies to the first bench position, and I think even if Davies does come on, I'm happy to have him playing. Southampton's a good chance for a clean sheet, and he's put up pretty good attacking returns this season for a player of his price. 5 attacking returns from a defender is pretty good, so I'm happy to have Davies here. And Botman, as I touched on, if anyone else doesn't play, having a double Newcastle defence, whilst isn't ideal, is still fairly solid considering that they are playing Nottingham Forest, and Andreas Pereira does remain in the third bench position here. Obviously he's not got a fixture this week, but he does just free up money to enable the rest of the squad to be pretty well rounded, with a fairly strong bench with Raya, Botman and Davies all ready to come on if anyone doesn't play. So that is pretty much how the team's looking. I'm very happy with how the team's shaping up this week. Kane on captaincy, Son's currently got the vice captain's armband. Saka, a really good captaincy pick as well. I think he's one to consider. Watkins, a good differential against Bournemouth, as is Toney against Leicester. Those are probably my 3 favourite captaincy picks outside of Kane, who's got the captain's armband currently. And I think using a free hit for our team was definitely worthwhile. We had to take a -4 hit just to have 10 players in our team for Game Week 28 if we didn't use a free hit. And then when it comes to blank Game Week 32, we're going to have exactly the same amount of players blanking in Game Week 32 anyway. And I can easily navigate that with just making one transfer. And I should be able to have a full starting 11 for blank Game Week 32. But just probably the other game week where a lot of managers are going to look to use a free hit. So I think we're pretty well set up for blank Game Week 32. It has improved my team for blank Game Week 28. It's given me that extra starting player, and I don't have to take a hit. And the team for double Game Week 29 is already fairly well set up, so I don't have to worry too much about making too many transfers ahead of double Game Week 29 just because the team's not set up because we've used a free hit this week. I think it is in a pretty good place. I think Maddison is a player that I'm going to look to bring in ahead of double Game Week 29. Maybe Kane as well. He does have a single fixture, and I would be bringing him in for Haaland, who just scored 5 goals in the Champions League. So I don't think that move's going to happen, at least for Game Week 29. But Maddison in is definitely a move we're looking to make. And potentially a goalkeeper change as well, to jump on a goalkeeper with a double game week could be worthwhile. The -4, as we are going to look to activate our bench boost token. But let me go. Let me know whether you guys are using the free hit chip in Game Week 28, or you've already used it this season, or when you're planning to use it for the remainder of the FPL season, as I would be interested to know. Thanks for watching today's free hit team selection for blank Game Week 28. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel and does push out the video to more people. Also, so you guys stay up to date with all of the future FPL videos in the build up to blank Game Week 28 plus a massive double Game Week 29. Make sure the notification bells are turned on, as there's going to be lots more FPL content coming your guys' way. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.